This, my friends, is a tomahawk, the rock star of all steaks in the steak family. This is a fantastic cut of beef to cook when you're entertaining. So this is a 1.3 kilogram piece of meat, which will feed at least 6 people. And I love it because it's dramatic when it comes to the table. It's got so much interconnecting muscles, so it's going to be really, really tender after cooking it on the barbecue, and a little bit of fat there, so it's going to stay moist. So the tomahawk is a ribeye, and you can see there it's got the characteristics of a ribeye, but it's attached to more of the bone. That's my favorite part. Now, I've preheated my Weber. I want it to be as hot as possible because we want a nice crust to form on our steak. Also, I've removed the tomahawk out of the fridge at least 2 hours before cooking. This is essential, so we get a nice even cook on the barbecue. Now for seasoning, I'm going to keep it really simple so we can really hero this rock star. We want a good glug of extra virgin olive oil on both sides and just drizzle that over. Flip it, and then a little extra oil. And now if you want that crust to form, yes, you need a really hot barbecue, but also salt is going to help form that crust. So be generous with the salt. Don't forget, this is 1.3 kilograms of meat. It's like a roast in itself. So generous amount of salt, and it's just going to make the meat taste so much better. Now I like to add a crack of pepper, not too much. Turn it over. Now let's start sealing this tomahawk off. So in the center of the barbecue, we'll place the tomahawk down and then just press on it a little bit so we get that direct contact with the grill. We want those lovely bar marks on the meat, so press it down, and then we're going to close the lid and let that cook for about 5 minutes so we develop that delicious crust. You know it's time to turn the meat when it detaches from the bars. If it's still a little bit sticky on there, it means that crust hasn't formed. So that's a great indication of when we need to turn our meat. The steak's been cooking for 5 minutes. Let's turn it over so we can get that lovely crust on the other side. See how easy that comes off the bars? You know that a nice crust is forming. Oh, that looks fantastic. I'm so excited about this cut of meat. Now what I like to do is add a little bit of thyme on the cook side. This is going to perfume the meat, but also when I close the lid for the second time, what happens is we're going to trap in that smoke, and then you'll actually smell the aroma of that gorgeous thyme. So another 5 minutes, then I'm going to turn the heat down to a medium to low and continue cooking the meat for another 15 minutes, turning it halfway through. Okay, this meat has been cooking for about 15 to 20 minutes, so it's time to check if it's cooked. Of course, you can do the good old classic way to test it by just pressing on it, and you want it to be medium rare. When you put your index and your thumb together, it should be the same tenderness as this part of your hand. However, if you want to make sure it's 100% accurate, you should get yourself a meat thermometer. These things are great, and you just put it in the thickest part of the steak. When we're talking about thick cuts of meat like this, the internal temperature of beef should be around 50 degrees when it's still on the barbecue. When I take it off the barbecue and allow it to rest, we want the internal temperature to be somewhere between 55 and 56. That'll mean it'll be the perfect cuisson every time. So let's take this beauty off. And I'm just going to place it on a rack. While the steak is resting, let's make a really quick salad. I'm going to do a sort of a French style salad. Butter leaves, I've got some fennel fronds in here. Good old tarragon. Tarragon and steak, they love each other. So I'll just take the leaves straight off. I just want to keep this salad really simple, so it's all about this gorgeous piece of meat. And now for some chives. Chop them into a few millimeters thick, and we'll sprinkle them in our salad. Some French shallot, because I like that really nice mild onion flavour. Cutting them into half moons. Break them up into the salad. And now for a really quick vinaigrette. Generous amount of Dijon mustard into a jar. Some horseradish. A little bit of vinegar, apple cider vinegar, or you can use some red wine vinegar. And then just give that a little mix. Pinch of salt, good crack of pepper. And then we need to bring this all together with some extra virgin olive oil, about 3 tablespoons, roughly measured. Lid on, give it a shake. Perfect, all right. I'll drizzle this over the salad. Don't overdress it. Now, just with a fork and spoon, give that a light toss. Look at those leaves glistening now after adding that delicious dressing. And now for the hero, our beautiful tomahawk. We'll take off that thyme, it's done its job. I like to show off the bone, but we do need to take most of that meat off the bone. And you just really carefully with your knife, follow the bone around the ribeye. So this flintstone bone needs to be on the board for presentation. Now we'll just slice into this, nice thick pieces. I want you to have a look in the center of this, how perfect it is. See how it's beautifully pink all the way through? That's what we're looking for. There's none of the juices on the board because we've allowed it to rest. So important when it comes to cooking steak. And this is my favorite part. You'd have to fight me for this because it's just so tender. You can see a little bit of the fat through that. Yum-o. Now just fan that out a little bit just to show off the cuisson, meaning how it's cooked inside. We'll pop it on our board. And then a drizzle of olive oil over the top, just a small amount. Some extra salt, a pinch just for that crunchiness. The Flintstones of all steaks. You've got to cook this one on a barbecue so you get that smoky finish to it, that lovely crust, and then look at that inside. That is the ultimate steak. I'm in heaven right now.